There are a ton of questions about the Seattle Seahawks after they just got upset by the Los Angeles Rams in week 1. Is it overreaction week, or is the market correct downgrading Seattle after that putrid performance? Hitman and I talk about that, and we touch on those 2 injuries to their offensive line and if we would play Seattle week to week with this news. That and more on today's show. What's going on, friends? Welcome back to Forward Progress here on the Hammer Betting Network, powered by Pinnacle. Before we get started today, just want to give a quick shout out to our sponsor over at Pinnacle. Pinnacle is the world's sharpest sportsbook, offering competitive odds for 25 years. We preach line shopping on this channel, and with everyday competitive odds, Pinnacle should be a part of your available sports books. On top of that, guys, live betting throughout Sunday. I had a lot of fun. I used Pinnacle, logged in. You get a little bit more updated live odds there. So that's a big use of Pinnacle there. If you're looking to support the show, make sure you use code HAMMER when signed up to Pinnacle. That's code HAMMER, HMMER. It simply just helps us support the show and support this content. Your trusted sportsbook for 25 years. Bet smart, bet Pinnacle. Must be 19 plus in Ontario. Please play responsibly and not available in the U.S. Guys, fun video for today. Week 1 in the books. There was a lot to react to. It's usually known as overreaction week, but I mean, the biggest shock, if you told me that the Seahawks would have lost outright to the Rams, I think that'd be one of the biggest shocks of the week 1 for me preseason, if you told me that. So we're here with Hitman to talk today about their performance in that week 1 game. So Hitman, I mean, what did you see? What did you like? What did you not like? And power ratings wise, how do you adjust the Seahawks after that performance against the Rams?
It's an obvious downgrade, but it's a team that I was high on coming into the year. I think that they made some big additions to their defense, getting Bobby Wagner back, drafting Devin Witherspoon with their first round pick. Their offense now going to go up a little more up tempo. You have Kenneth Walker, Tyler Lockett, DK Metcalf, JSN at receiver. Like, it's a really good combo of weapons. But then last week happens. They had a good first half. They had a pretty positive EPA per play, 5.2 yards per play, 13 points. And then the second half was just, it was the worst half of football you could possibly have. It was embarrassing and terrible. Now, how much do you just downgrade this team off of the worst one pathetic half? It's a downgrade. It is. But is it as big of a downgrade as the market is saying, where like look ahead lines have moved 3 points through key numbers? I don't think it is, to be honest with you. Obviously, the offensive tackles being out is a question mark, but it does seem like it's something where Charles Cross might be back in 2-3 weeks. Abe Lucas could be back as early as this week, but it seems like a week to week thing. So for me, I downgraded Seattle, but I still do believe they have the talent. And they also have a coach that Pete Carroll's never going to let the Seattle team typically be much of a bottom dweller. He's kind of like a Mike Tomlin West, where he's going to get his team to play competitive football. We've seen that throughout his tenure in Seattle. So didn't downgrade Seattle as much as some in the market did.
Yeah, and fair enough. I mean, I think the real reaction here should be the Rams upgrade more so. We didn't really expect their offensive weapons to be there, but like, hey, Puka Nacua looks like he can play. I mean, Matthew Stafford is as good of a quarterback as he's been. Good coach. Like, that's where the upgrade should be. And I think you're right here in the downgrade. I think what a lot of people were scared about were those injuries that you mentioned, both the left and right tackle, Abraham Lucas and Charles Cross, who were both great for Seattle last year. I mean, them being out is definitely going to affect things. But like you mentioned, I think it was one of them will be back in the coming weeks. Another one, maybe 3 to 4 weeks. So my only worry is that Geno Smith didn't look too good pushing that ball downfield with those guys out. And that scares me because last year, that's what made Geno Smith. And on top of that, I don't think Kenneth Walker needs help with the tackles to succeed in the run game, but I can't imagine having them out is going to help them in the run game, right? It should only hurt them, especially if they mix in Zach Charbonnet, who's more of a between the tackles runner here. So, I mean, do those injuries week to week scare you at all? Are you going to lay off the Seahawks while those guys are out, or are you still going to go after them in market here?
It depends what the market price is. I mean, any player could be injured. Patrick Mahomes could be injured, and that doesn't mean I'm not going to bet on the Kansas City Chiefs. It's how the market reacts and whether I think it's an overreaction or an underreaction. In the Seattle case, as valuable as these offensive tackles are, and they are valuable. If the market does overreact to it, it could be a spot where you come in and play them. So for me, Seattle. It's still an offense that has a lot of talent, especially at the skill positions. And Geno Smith was at least an average starting quarterback last year. So for me, Seattle, it's still a team that I could look to play on in some specific spots.
Yeah, and I fully agree with you. If you bring up our website that we use here, it's called unpredictable.com. We used it a lot last year here on the Forward Progress YouTube channel, just to give us a general idea of what the market was expecting of these teams. Seattle is currently ranked power rated as the 23rd best team in the NFL. And you have teams like, listen, no disrespect to these teams, but Las Vegas, Tennessee, New Orleans, those couple of those teams ahead of them. I don't think it'd be a stretch to push up Seattle into the 19-20 range based off of that performance. I think 23 is a little bit too far of a downgrade, like you said here. Moving over to Pinnacle, though, we take a look at their odds over here to win the division. I mean, we talked about this before. The San Francisco 49ers looked lights out. They might be able to run away with the NFC on their own, but I mean, plus 600 for the Seahawks to win the division. Does that entice you at all? I mean, a little too steep for me, but I think you're leaning the same way here.
It was a play that I made before the season at some good odds on Seattle, so I was high on them before the season. But San Francisco, they looked pretty damn good, and they look like a team that they could even sustain a quarterback injury, and they just have so much talent surrounding their quarterbacks on defense and in skill positions and at play caller that it's tough to see San Francisco getting trumped.
Yeah, I don't really see a path there where they can. You're right. I mean, even if they lose Brock Purdy, they still have Sam Darnold, and I'm a Sam Darnold truther. So I think that he can at least make up for what Brock Purdy does for that team. So I mean, hey, we're buying Seattle. It sounds like you're in to buy Seattle week to week, depending on the market price, especially if they're ranked this low in market. So keep an eye out there on those prices and make sure you scoop up those Seattle tickets. So without further ado, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Reminder to hit the like button, hit that subscribe button, and ring that notification bell. We have live shows every Monday through Friday, 2 to 3 p.m. Eastern. We're going live. I mean, we have so much stuff on this channel. Thursday night football preview, Monday night football preview, market reaction videos. We have some film preview where we take a look at the box score and see what the box score doesn't tell us. Takes a look at film, kind of mix the two things together. Very, very good content here on the Forward Progress News channel. So make sure you're liking, make sure you're subscribing, make sure you smash that notification bell. It just helps support the show. So without further ado, for Hitman, I'm producer Jason signing off. This has been Forward Progress here on the Hammer Betting Network, presented by Pinnacle.